Now for the track guide. Guys, if you want to improve at a quicker pace, especially in this car, I have created a specific course for the Ferrari 296 GT3. Link will be in the video description. You can find there a racing technique course as well. So now going into the track guide itself, this is one of the coolest tracks and for sure a lot of opportunities to gain and lose a lot of lap time. So we're getting here into the first part of the track, turn 1. We want to turn at this white line. We want to start turning into a corner, 100% throttle. You really want to push so that you have your right tires almost all the way to the grass, and the moment that you straighten up the car, that's your reference for braking. So reference for braking will be the moment that your steering wheel gets almost to 0 degrees so that you can maximize the efficiency under straight line braking. When you're braking, you should go diagonally towards the right side, so you're using all the track, having the left tires on the white line. Enter gear, second gear, you will start turning into the corner while still holding a bit of brake percentage applied. And notice this slow build-up of the brake. That's because we were still turning when braking a tiny bit. So that's the reason why the brake application was not very fast. When turning into a corner, it's important to cut all the way to the gravel towards the yellow anti-curbs, and you're gonna push the throttle on top of them. That's perfectly fine. When you get to the next curbs and you're getting very close, drop the throttle so that you get a bit more grip on the front end, cut the anti-curbs all the way, and you should be expected to arrive here with your right tires on the white line. Now we're gonna upshift to third gear, cutting these curbs all the way to the grass, barely brushing the grass so that you can maximize your entry into the next one. Same here, cutting the curb, same thing around here. Now the reference for braking for the next corner will be once again when we straighten up the car. When the steering wheel is almost straight, we're gonna be applying the brakes. You go to third gear. Again, you have to almost brush this grass. The moment that you get to the curb, you're gonna push the throttle very aggressively. Same here, take this curb almost in the middle of the car, so you have your left tires on the left, right tires on the right, and this one in the middle. Push the throttle aggressively. You should be expecting to arrive this space on the left side of the white line. Make sure you're using it. If the car doesn't push as wide as this, you should be pushing the throttle earlier in the previous corner. Now for this corner around here, reference for braking will be this blue lights from the left side, or you can use this white line as well. Make sure when you're braking that you're braking with your left tire on this little space to the left side of the white line. That is key. In fourth gear, you're just gonna use the brake to make the car rotate. You don't want to slow down too much, and the moment that you reach this curb, you should be pushing the throttle aggressively. On your way out, your right tires should be on the white line, and that's how you're gonna maximize the track usage, and that's how you're gonna carry all this speed basically to this huge straight. You have to be very early on the throttle, because as you can see on this track, this will be like a recurring theme. Now for the next corner around here, reference for braking will be this yellow paint near the wall. At the yellow paint, you're gonna prepare to brake. You're gonna brake and have this white line almost in the middle of the car. Then you'll go more and more towards the right side. In third gear, second gear, when you get closer to the apex, make sure you're taking once again the curb in the middle of the car, so to speak, and don't drop the brake pressure after you land. You still have to keep your brake engaged to navigate the second corner of the chicane. So once you're landing completely, then you're gonna bump the brake pressure a tiny bit. Still in second gear, you will be looking at this green pole. You will almost want to go through it, so get very close to it, using this curb to push the car, and then once again taking this curb in the middle of the car and setting our exit. Super important to be aggressive on the throttle. Even though the car is sliding a tiny bit, you must push the throttle as early as you can to take advantage of this big straight ahead. So now we're heading towards the next braking zone. 100-meter board here will be the reference to start braking. Brake in a straight line as much as you can, keep 0 degrees of steering wheel angle. You'll go from 5th to 4th to 3rd, and once again cut this curb so that it's gonna be in the middle of the car. When you're landing, you're gonna be preparing to bump the brake pressure again for the second corner of the chicane. So once you're on the curb, you'll be a lower pressure, but then when you're landing, bump the pressure a tiny bit. Go in second gear, it's gonna give you better rotation and also better exit, and make sure you're exploiting this part of the track, super important. because you're gonna be able to push the throttle so early and you'll have that space to use. So make sure you're thinking about cutting as much as you can around here, because this is how you basically allow yourself to push the throttle earlier and take advantage on these big straights. Now going into the next braking zone, 100 meter board reference for turning in, turn with 100% throttle. You're gonna be looking at this curb here on the right side, getting closer and closer to it, and when you're quite close, you're gonna drop the throttle, start braking. You're gonna brake diagonally towards the next corner, so you're basically setting up the next one like this, going diagonally all the way to the white line. You should be crossing the white line very close to the cone on the left in second gear, and then you're gonna be turning more and more into the corner. You want a late apex around here, middle of the curb and very close to the green poles, then pushing the throttle aggressively. You should be arriving here near the gravel, and now we're preparing for once again another straight, so we can skip a tiny bit ahead. Make sure you're choosing the shortest path on this straight and you're not weaving left to right too much, so minimizing the steering wheel angle is key. Now going into this corner, you should be going first turning in and then dropping the throttle, so don't brake on a straight line, just drop the throttle, you get closer to the curb, apply a tiny bit of brakes and increase the braking after the car is getting closer to a straight line braking, so you have more towards 0 degrees of steering wheel angle. You'll be going to third to second and apexing on this curb. You don't need to cut this curb around here, you're gonna apex around it. It's gonna be the faster way. Use this part of the track on your way out, and now repositioning quickly towards the left side. The 50 meter board in front will be your reference for braking. Brake in a straight line initially, go to second gear, then to first, the slowest corner of the track, almost, and then push the throttle at the apex. Make sure you're not using this grass around here, so you can brush it, but make sure you're not pushing all the way towards the left, because then it's gonna be very uncomfortable when you're gonna meet the wall. Now, preparing once again for the next braking zone. Reference for braking here will be this green part on the left, this one right here. When you get to it, you're gonna be braking and turning quite quickly, going from fifth to fourth. Here you're gonna use the brakes mostly to make the car rotate, not to slow the car unnecessarily. And when you hit the middle of the curb, so to speak, you're gonna push the throttle. The idea here is to arrive into the center left, but not all the way to the left, because we need to bring the car in the center of the track for the next corner, and then turning with just a throttle lift, pushing the throttle back on, a very fast section of the track right here, getting very close to the blue wall. Then at the end of the blue wall, you will turn more and more. Once again, a throttle lift, hit the curb in the middle, put it back to 100%. The moment that you reach this white line and the concrete on the right side, you're gonna be start barely brushing the brakes, going to fourth, third gear, still holding the brakes, keep a more narrower line, and then at the end of the curb, smash the throttle aggressively. You want to be here all the way on the right side on the white line, and turning to the corner once again with the lift. This is a bigger lift than we did before, so this corner is a bit slower. Make sure you're cutting all the way to the yellow anti-curbs, and you should be pushed here on the right side. That's perfectly fine. Now for this part, you just try to minimize the distance traveled, so to take the shortest line around here in these high-speed corners. Reference for braking here will be in the middle of the dotted line, very close to this part right here. So braking in a straight line initially, using this curb to open up, to brake on top of it, and then in third gear, when you get closer to the anti-curb, you should be cutting completely to these little things, like cut as much as you can, push the throttle. Once you get to the second corner of the chicane, you should be all the way to the right when you're doing the braking. Reference for braking will be the moment that you bring the car towards the right side. In second gear, you're gonna brake and turn almost immediately. Make sure you're cutting this curb a lot, and when you're cutting it, push the throttle. Same here, the only thing that matters is quick hands. You're going from left to right, so be very quick with your hands. Drop the throttle when you hit the curb, and then when you're landing, push the throttle once again, using all the track on your way out, all the way to the gravel. And in short, that's a lap around here. It's a long lap. It's not a difficult circuit, but it will make for some great racing. So I hope you have a great week around here. And once again, if you want to improve at a quicker pace, check out the links in the video description. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.